I'm moving around over here a little more, if that's okay, without blocking happening. Okay, so this way I can sort of see everyone and make eye contact and see you and stuff like that. Again, I'm Habib, and the people in the picture are my husband Ricky Baruch on the right. He's a farmer. Our son Levi holding up garlic. So we bought this piece of land. We bought it as conservation buyers. It's 30 acres, which meant that the organization that was selling it was looking for people that would agree to limited development. And we spent a lot of time having to be very thoughtful about how we were going to use that land because we kind of had to propose that to them. So we described an agreement that involved farming and education and living, basically. And what I'm going to do through these images is just kind of share what we're doing, on this land and in our community to help grow food, to help promote food self-reliance, to strengthen our local food system and regional food system in some way, and to also, if others are inspired, to serve as a model for others. So I want you to feel free to, ask questions as we go along. I know some of you have been to the site, and so these images will be familiar. So our mantra, or one of our mantras, is grow food everywhere. The land was not, and is not, and will never be, pristine farmland on the banks of the Connecticut River, like a lot of the beautiful farmland around here is. So it's been really all about building up that soil so we can grow food on it. And that was more that way. And even though we couldn't have afforded it per se, in a way it was sort of beneficial because we didn't want people to come and say, well, this is a beautiful, 20 or 40 or 100 acre farm. I couldn't do this. We wanted to create something where people could say, oh, I see that patch of this or this idea for that. I can weave that into my own life, my own community, my own school, my own, lot in an urban neighborhood or whatever it is. So we grow a lot of varieties of greens for salad mixes, for restaurants and food markets and schools. We also grow like a lot of kale and herbs and things like that, and garlic, quite a lot of garlic. And you will hear more about the North Quabbin Garlic and Arts Festival that we put on with our neighbors as a way of celebrating primarily, and also helping to vitalize agriculture and the arts in the North Quabbin region. We sell primarily to schools, restaurants, and food co-ops throughout Franklin County. So that's a big part of our food. Grow a lot of food and keep the marketing of that food fairly regional. We grow a lot in solar hoop houses. So we have we have 3 plus 1 for the youth program plus a 4th going up of greenhouses, but they don't, the difference between a greenhouse and a hoop house is basically when you say greenhouse, even though that's what we call them, greenhouses usually imply that you're using mechanical ventilation or additional heating, whereas a hoop house or solar greenhouse is just that layer. And what it does is it helps extend the growing season. So here's some of the beds, and you can see garlic being planted this past fall. And again, this soil was not fertile soil. It was rocky, very marginal land 8 years ago. Caroline and Megan were our 2 farm apprentices last year, and mentoring people who are interested in growing food is really important to us, and mentoring them in a way so that, like as Ricky might say, we don't want people to see what we're doing and run the other way, because they don't want to live a life of a farmer, which seems so miserable and stressful and horrible and you can never get ahead, you can never make enough money and all this kind of stuff. So not only do we teach about how to grow food, but also how to weave it into a life that's balanced. Just again, education. Here's a group of farmers, and some of you might know Ruth Hazard from UMass Extension, and there's Mark Latanzi on the right. He actually works with CISA. Another piece just about kind of the whole system and the whole cycle is we're in the woods. We're not in big open fields. So how are you going to grow food? Well, you need to clear some land. So we've tried to do that, again, in a way that is respectful. These trees taken down from the land to open up a field for more growing space. are being milled on site with our neighbors in the portable sawmill, and then the wood is being used by our neighbors and also by us to build some of the farm buildings. You know, so that's a really important piece to us, and it's also very, it's very nourishing. Like, it's great. You know, it doesn't feel like, oh no, I have to go out and do some community organizing now. It's like, it's very warming and heartwarming. And again, you know, in a world where it feels like there's so many issues, what do I do? How do I address them? Where do I start? You know, if we can start in our own neighborhood, or your own building, or your own, you know, apartment complex, or wherever it is, you know, what a great thing. Nice to see a couple guys with hard hats on hugging. Of what we do on our farm and in our home is that we utilize renewable energy and renewable fuels in part, along with fossil fuels, to reduce our reliance on a fossil fuel-based way of living. This is one of our primary, actually, it's kind of smaller here. We're actually adding 4 more panels to it, but one of our power stations on the land is right next to the house. You'll be able to see that in a moment. And our house and farm is not connected to the electric utility grid. So we utilize solar electricity for all of our electricity needs. Some of you have seen this in action. So there it is in relation to the house. And we built the house, by the way. We're still working on it. You know, it's a process and a project. What about that? Maybe think about that. I mean, you know, there's one of the things about using renewable energy that people have said, well, like, is it a sacrifice? You know, you have to give up a lot to use renewable energy. You can have my youngest, you know, renewable energy system if you have the money to pay for it. We have a relatively conservative one, but what it does is it increases your consciousness around the source of your energy and how much energy you're using. So, you know, we always say, well, we don't consider increased consciousness a sacrifice. All of our vehicles are diesel. The truck that you saw is a Ford F-350 power stroke diesel. Our family car is a diesel Volkswagen. And then we have a van for our education programs. And we use biodiesel, vegetable-based fuel, in our vehicles. So I believe that the work is only going to become more appealing and that we've created a core and we're going to just strengthen the body of people that support it. So most of the time I just feel really good about it because I feel really like this is the work I'm supposed to be doing. And in terms of what I would be doing if I wasn't doing this, again, I feel like this is my path. So I feel really fortunate to feel that this is my path. So I think that there's not going to be a radical change to like another career way of being. I think the change is going to be when basically we just stop working as much, you know. So we're both turning 45 this year, so we're really hoping in 10 or 12 years we can make a very significant shift so that our life is much less about work and just a lot, you know, a different way of being, a lot more contemplative life, quiet, yoga, meditation, pilgrimage, things like that. Oh, wow, it's snowing.
It's slow, it's good.
Those are great questions. Thank you.